All right, we are live. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today on the Phys Ed Summit 2016. Today, in this session, we're going to be talking to Rex Peebles. We're going to be talking about getting our kids moving, learning, and loving it. So a few things before we start. If there are any technical difficulties with the Tozzle, just make sure you refresh your page, and usually that fixes it. Also, if for some reason we get booted from the Google Hangout, stay put on the Tozzle, and we will put a new link on there so that you can rejoin. So without any further ado, I'm going to kick it over to Rex Peebles.
All right. Well, thank you very much for having me here. My name is Rex Peebles. I am from Katy, Texas, in the United States. So for any of our friends that are from further away, that's great. Working on screen share here so that I'll get everything up and going. There we go. All right. And so I am presenting, we're getting them moving, learning, and loving it. As you can see, I teach at Wood Creek Elementary in Katy, Texas. And really, I'm been a teacher for 14 years. I have I'm a father of 3, I have a wonderful wife, 3 amazing kids. I've spent a lot of my time in the classroom in teaching, and then I finally lucked out and got into the PE classroom, where that is where I was meant to be. I really enjoy it, and I know that you will enjoy it as well. If you're new to this, if you're a veteran, then you've been blessed for several years to do this. So as you can see, North America, United States, Houston, Texas. We're on the western edge of it in a little town called Katy. Some of you might recognize it. If you're in the U.S., we have football, American football. Our high school teams that usually does pretty well, although we lost our game last night. But I am at Wood Creek Elementary School. It's an amazing school. We have great administration. Our staff is wonderful. And our PTA, I couldn't ask for more. And then this year, I've got a new teaching partner, and she's been awesome so far, and she will be an amazing PE teacher, maybe better, or probably better than I will be. We also have 2 paras. So this is my classroom. We usually have 90 to 110 kids at a time, 4 to 5 classroom classes in there. For that, we have 2 teachers and 2 aides for most classes. As you can see on the far wall, we have a rock wall that we just put in this year. So that is awesome. Our PTA helped us out on that. We got that put in. We have, those aren't hardwood floors. Those are rubberized floors that are great to run on. And if the kids fall there, it's not a big deal. They usually get up uninjured. Now, I use technology in my classroom, and it helps a lot with a lot of the games that I do. Apple TV linked to the overhead projector. I have 2 iPad minis. Most of the time, one is connected as my music straight into our sound system. The other Apple, or the other iPad, I use with the Apple TV to project whatever I need to. I also have a Lenovo Yoga laptop that I can sometimes Apple TV for us, it runs on one Wi-Fi network within our school, and the laptops run on another one. So if one's not working correctly, I've got a backup that does extremely well. So getting into kind of the meat of my presentation is talking about integrating some of the academic components into our PE class. And some of the equipment that we use for that, we have number cards, we have letter cards, poly spots and with numbers and letters on them, dominoes, playing cards, play money, and sight words. The biggest thing with this, none of these options are actually that expensive. None of them are outside the realm of any of our classes, I don't think. Even the poly spots, if you don't have the actual poly spots that have numbers or letters on them, you could print up the numbers, print up the letters, put them on the regular poly spots, or even put them on the piece of paper and put the piece of paper down on the floor. All right, as long as you're not having them where they're going to slide on it, it'll work just as well. But these 8 pieces of equipment actually give us a lot of use. So I know a lot of you might ask, why am I going to want to integrate academics into PE? Besides the fact that my principal or admin or somebody said that I needed to try. Well, I came from the classroom. We teach a subject that students love. They love PE. They love being in our gym. And we can integrate other subjects into our lessons easily, and we support the development of those students in their classroom as well. We have kinesthetic learners. We got the kids that need to move around. Well, sometimes those are the same students who have trouble in the classroom because they can't sit and think and do and learn. And so sometimes letting them move and learn is a great opportunity for them. And the last one, this is something that as I played a few of these games, I started to find out was that sometimes some of the students who were not normally picked first, they were one of the students that might have been, okay, you were having to find a team for them. They started being chosen early on because academically, they are sharp. I mean, academically, they're gifted. And so these students wanted to include them on their team because suddenly when the game included a math aspect or a reading aspect, they became, the Michael Jordans of that team for that particular skill. So starting off, just an easy one. Greater than, less than, or equal. And this is one that as the students come in, hand them a card, hand them a poly spot, domino, whatever it is that you want them to use. And they walk around, walk around performing a locomotor movement, walking, skipping, leaping, hopping, jumping, whatever locomotor movement you would like them to do. And when the music stops, they find the closest person and they compare numbers with them. Greater than, less than, equal. When they do that, what they've done, they've integrated that math skill in there. They compare them. If whoever's had the greater number chooses what exercise to do from a list. For this, on my overhead, I'll have a list of exercises up, and normally the numbers, so it might be 5 push-ups or 10 jumping jacks or 15 shoulder touches, 1 lap around the gym, whatever it is that you want to focus on. You could have this be a complete cardio game. You could have this be a complete muscle strength and endurance game. So if they tie, I would choose a tiebreaker exercise. So I'd say, okay, if you tied, you will do the 5 push-ups. And they do that and go on. Now, once they've compared it with one person, I have them switch. They trade, and then they go on and with, let's say I'm doing skipping. So we skip, find a partner, compare, do the exercise, trade cards, and skip and find a new partner when the music stops. And so with that, they get to continue to move the whole time. All right. Another one I like to do, and this is, the first one was obviously math integration. This is obviously language arts. Feed the animals. Divide the students into groups of 3 and have each group sit at one of the hula hoops around the edge of the basketball court. And I explained to the students that the area inside the basketball court is the wild, and their words they spell are the animal food. And every hula hoop is your team hula hoop, and that's where your little band of animals is going to place your letters and words that you collect. And with kindergarten, early in the year when we're doing locomotor skills, I normally do this with just collecting the letters, but they have to, try to read the letters or, compare letters. First grade, we're still working on locomotor skills. I have them start to build their sight words. So just as you tier your classes to make sure that all students are going to be successful, I mean, we don't want, you're not going to try kindergartners beginning of the year on sight words. You want to talk to the classroom teachers and find out what sight words are they using. Our school actually does have sight words for kindergarten at the beginning of the year, but I don't pull out any sight words until we're at least after the first 9 weeks. Before then, we do a lot of letter games, but we don't go on to sight words quite yet. First grade, second grade, they're still working really hard on sight words, and I go ahead and integrate them where I can. So we're using the animal walks that I know a lot of us do early in the year. Just crab walk, bear crawl, alligator crawl, camel walk, and then any of the regular locomotor movements. And they go and they collect the letters. And they're only allowed to get one letter at a time, increase the movement, and then they use the letters they collect to make words. Or, like I said, with kindergarten, they're just collecting letters. And they have to read it when they get back to their team and put it down. And if they can't read it, one of the other people at their hula hoop reads it for them. So you're trying to collect the most complete letters and words that you can before all the letters are gone. And so really with that, if you do locomotor movements and you're just moving it, in a circle or moving around, the kids start to get tired of that a little bit. So with this, I've actually found that they move on with the locomotor movements far or longer than they used to when we didn't use these. We did, animal walk warm-ups, or we played the songs, but then after a song or so, they'd get tired of it. But with this, we went ahead and we could stretch that out a little longer and get some of those kindergarten kids to, push themselves to gather a few more letters. Whereas early in here, we all know kindergarten can, some of them can be like, I'm tired. And with this, it made it more of a game. Next one.
Hey Rex, where did you get the sight words from? Did you get them from the teachers, or is there a list that you can kind of recommend?
You can look up sight words. Our district has sight words for each grade level per 9 weeks. We're on a 9-week grading period. So I went to my language arts coach. We have in the works, we have our principal, our assistant principals, and then we have a math instructional coach and a language arts instructional coach who help with some of the professional development for those areas. Well, I went to our coach and said I wanted a list, if she could please get me a list of all the different sight words for all the grade levels. And so she came back to me with, you see these are yellow, and they're color coded by 9 weeks. Now the letters that I have on the floor, you'll see on this next game, all the letters that I have, the blues are consonants, the vowels are red or the pinkish color, and that helps out when they're playing the game as well. But those came from, we have a print shop within our district that I ordered those through, and they came already cut out just like that. I think I paid maybe 10 cents per alphabet for them. So that was a very inexpensive way to take care of that. So the next one was Letter Island. And I've played this with the kids several times, and I've also presented this to teachers many times. And the teachers, after they play this game, they're amazed by how tired they are just from 2 or 3 minutes of playing it. The way that this game works, we spread the hula hoops out, we spread the letters out to where they're not in the hula hoops yet. So the students they're trying to get as many points as possible. And throughout a lot of my integrating academics in here, whether it's the numbers or the letters, I use them as the points. So if you make a shot, you can get a letter. If you bear crawl out, you get a letter. If you successfully throw and catch a ball, you get a letter. Those are some things that not only are they reinforcing, it's a positive reinforcement. You did what you were supposed to, you got it, go get yourself a point. But the other thing is, it increases the movement that they do sometimes. Especially, I have classes where I've got partners a lot, or groups of 3. So if the student makes a basket, goes back to give the ball to the next person, they hand off the ball, then they go and run and get the letter, and they come back. A lot of times they're actually moving more than if they'd have just handed off the ball and were waiting their turn. So one of the things I know some people are worried about is actually integrating math or reading into your classroom, it being a detriment to the amount of movement or the minutes that your students are actually active. I found it's actually increased in my classroom when I'm able to do this well. So Letter Island, you spread the hula hoops out, spread the letters out on the floor. Now, 2 options. First option was with kindergarten, and they start picking the letters up, and whenever all the letters have been picked up off the floor, they're done. To begin with, kindergarten was not ready to start taking from other hula hoops because they got upset. So we started off with them with just pick up the letters. Once they're all picked up, we're done. Now, even with kindergarten, when they picked up the letters, you wanted consonants in your hula hoop. That counted as points for your team. So as you can see from the 2 pictures, the one on the right, they had all consonants. So they had 8 total points. The one on the left, they also had 8 consonants, but somebody had put 3 vowels in their hula hoop. Well, the red vowels actually take a point away. And you can play it however you want, where 5 points and the consonants are worth 1. And you can do something similar to this. But so option 1, they pick them up and they're done. Option 2, if you want it to go on a little longer, and especially with the older kids, if it was just pick them up off the floor, we're done in about a minute. Whereas then we allowed them to start taking the vowels off of their island, deliver them to other islands. And you could take the consonants from the other islands and put them back on yours. Rules that we had to kind of integrate was there was no guarding the letters on your island. You couldn't sit on them. You couldn't block somebody from doing it. I guess if you were teaching fifth grade and you're using something similar to this, you might work on boxing out. But beyond, and actually maybe seventh or eighth grade would be better on that. But no guarding the letters on your island. You may only have one letter in your hand at a time. And I also made a rule of you cannot go back to the same hula hoop every time you get a letter. So you can arrange that however you want. I said I've played it differently. One, they had to go through the colors of the rainbow. So you had to go to a red hula hoop, red, then orange, then yellow, and so forth, before you came back to a red one. And that worked pretty well for my second graders. First graders, I just said you had to go to at least 2 others before you went back to the same hula hoop. And under my variations at the bottom, you can see that, vary the points for each letter. Or have the students spell words with their letters, and any vowels used in the words don't count against the team. And we have pretty large classes. Like I said, we've got 90 to 110 kids in our classes. That's our normal groups. Some are a little bigger. None are really smaller than 90. So a lot of our locomotor movement is walking. But with these games, if you throw in some animal walks, and I never do running just because we have too many kids and too small of a space. If you had less kids and a larger space, like Jorge, I don't remember what your class sizes are. I think you said you have 2 classes at a time, but you have a larger outdoor covered area, and now that they've covered up your cement, I think that they'd probably be able to run a little bit more than mine do inside.
Yeah, actually, I only have 1 class at a time this year, and it's going pretty well. If there's ever like a split or anything, then sometimes we have some extra kids. But yeah, since I got that covered concrete, that it's like a plastic, it's sport court. It's been amazing. So this year I started off with the kids, practicing jogging and walking fast, jogging, and then actually running, and it's great. It's amazing.
Well, I'm glad you got that this year. As you can see in the photos, ours kind of looks like a wood floor, but it's rubberized, and that was replaced last year, the year before. We had a tile floor that was extremely slick, and so when we do pacer tests, they'd run to the other end, and then they'd slide a couple feet and then try to run back the other way. So it became a little bit of a challenge at times. Now, not all of my games are just run around, and a lot of them you can integrate these into, the teaks that you're trying to have your students master. So for this, soccer, and how to control a ball and to trap it. And so this, they would draw a sight word from the pile on their hula hoop, and you saw the yellow sight words at the beginning. Then they dribble the ball over the letters of the sight words that they are spelling. And students will return the sight word back to the pile after spelling the word. Then the next person would go. So I've got the alphabet poly spots all over the floor. We've got sight words, and we've got the soccer balls. The poly spots I have are the small ones. For the letters are actually fairly small. I think they're 4 inches across. We got them through S&S Worldwide. So, but anything would work for this. You could put the letters out. If you made some letters like I have, the paper letters, and laminate them, you could put those on the ground, and this would work just as well. So they spell out their word, they dribble back, and the younger kids, this really helped them with trapping the ball. And that was one of the best parts about this, because always before, they would dribble the ball around, but actually getting them to trap it where they were trying to go was a great thing that actually helped them out with this. One of the best, another great option on this is dribbling a basketball. And when you dribble with the basketball, if you're holding up the card with the sight word on it, and you're dribbling the ball with the other hand, it reinforces dribbling with just one hand and having the one hand up and the arm up to kind of guard the ball, just like you're supposed to. But the other thing it does is it makes them get their eyes off of the ball when they're dribbling. So they start having to look as they're dribbling for the next letter. Now, kindergarten, and in Texas, our kindergarten teak on dribbling is that they're supposed to be able to bounce the ball and catch it after it bounces once, or be able to catch the ball after it bounces once. And so with them, I'd have them go out when we were doing basketballs, and they would just bounce the ball on that letter and catch it, and then move on to the next one. So other variation, use numbers. I know some of our older grades, they start into place value. And so with place value, you could, give them cards. And if you tell the teachers that you are going to work on place value, a lot of them will help you by making the cards for you. So for instance, it'll say, the number's 35,438. And down below, you could say, dribble to the, number 1, dribble to the number that is in the 10,000th place. And they dribble out and find a 3, and so forth. So if your teachers know that you're working on stuff like this, they are happy to help. Words with friends dribbling. And as you can see, we were using this one day. So we spread the letters and sight words out all over the gym. Now these, in the picture, we use the letters. If you have multiple sets of sight words, those are great. But students are partnered up. Player 1 calls out a sight word from the side. Player 2 dribbles the ball around until they find the sight word on the floor. Now, if you can get the sight word cards with the sight word on both sides, that would make this game much easier. Our letters that I have, one side's the capital, the other side's lowercase. So the letters work really well for this, but that was the one variation that I did the second time we were playing this, is I made sure that our sight word cards, the word was on both sides. So first person calls out sight word, second person dribbles out and picks it up, then they go back and they switch. And you can do this with soccer balls or letters, or even with kindergarten, do numbers instead of letters or words. With math ideas, it's almost endless. Fractions, place value, equivalent fractions for 4th and 5th. I know they start into that. So first person, 1/2, and then they have to find the equivalent fraction. So they come back with 3/6. Partner dribbling. And this is another one where a lot of times we have, one partner jogs a lap while the other one's dribbling. When they catch up, they switch. And that's with basketball. That's one of the drills I've used before to get two skills in at the same time. This is similar. Student runs out, grabs a number from the pile of cards in the middle of the basketball court. They come back, they dribble the ball that many times. So if they draw 9, they come back, they dribble 9 times, counting out loud. And then the other partner, while they're dribbling, the other partner runs out and grabs their own number. So they're just switching off dribbling, but they're also running and picking up a number and coming back. And then variations, use playing cards. I don't have this on there, but use dominoes. They go out, pick up a domino, and actually have to add the numbers together. And, that way, for some of the older students, it makes them, dribble a little bit more. Or that you could have them pick up 2 numbers and multiply, if that's what especially with some of the older kids, dribbling 9 times is real quick, but dribbling, 9 times 4 is 36. So dribbling 36 times would take them a little longer and give their partner more time to get out and back. And then the last variation I've got there is have them draw a letter and then have them dribble the basketball while saying the alphabet until they reach the letter drawn. So they H, and they dribble it A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. And then they'd be ready to hand it off to the next partner. Okay, Moneyball. And there are lots of different variations you can do with this. If you have the poly spots with the amount of money on them, awesome. That's great. If you don't, then feel free to use, you can put tape on the floor, which is actually one of the easiest ways that I found to do it, because the tape stays there. Those poly spots, the kids could kick a little closer. And so if you put tape on the floor that's got $100 on it, it's a whole lot harder for them to pick it up, move it to a spot, and set it down without being really obvious. So you have it set up. And depending on what skill you're working on, you could make that, so if you're working on layups, you could make that a higher point value to reinforce them going for that. If you are working on free throws, absolutely put that down there. Just before, if you've got kids that are getting ready for the Elks hoop shoot, or you want to encourage that with some of them, or have some of them see that they really can make free throws, put a high value on the free throw line. I never put anything too far back. Free throw line is usually the farthest I get, because one of the things I've taught junior high sports, and I would much rather have a kid that knows that they can consistently make a shot from the free throw or the elbow than to think that, hey, I need to go for a 3-point shot and try to make $100. So I'm full on encouraging shots that they're going to shoot in a game later on. And for no students into junior high, do you really want to encourage anything farther in the free throw? And if you have a local basketball league and you know that through 2nd grade, they shoot from 10 feet and not 15 feet, then try to help them out and put it at 10 feet. For us, all the way up through 3rd grade, I think they have 8-foot baskets. So, when we have the crank out and we adjust the basket height in between grade levels when needed. With this same game, you can do basketball, you could do football, soccer, anything where you're shooting from a distance, you can use this on.
Hey Rex, we had a question on the Tozzle.
Okay.
And it's from the previous activity, I believe. The question is, what is the importance of having the sight words on both sides of the cards?
Okay, so actually this was back on Words with Friends Dribbling. The problem is when you go to set them back out, they flutter, and if it's face down, you can't see it very well. Well, you can't see it at all. So I'm not wanting to reinforce them dribbling around, trying to pick up and turn over cards. More of what I'm wanting to reinforce with that is them just looking for the actual word. So having their eyes up as they dribble and looking around. If the sight word is on both sides of the cards, it can never be face down where you can't see it. So it's the same sight word on both sides. Okay. Now, this one is a great station. Um, it's just Alphabet Ninja. And I spread the poly spots out on the floor in order. And with American Ninja Warrior, that's another thing that a lot of our kids just love to imitate. And we put these out, spread them out. Sometimes we make them easy, sometimes we make them more difficult. And they just try to walk as quietly through it as possible. If you've got a lot of, maybe you're doing jump rope stations in February, this can be kind of a rest station. And they're moving, they're up, they're not just sitting there laying down, but it gives them a break away from maybe jumping rope. When I do our jump rope unit and I'm doing stations, I normally have 4 stations that are jumping rope, and then in between each of those I have something that's not as tough cardio wise. So it might be a balance beam, it might be something like this, and it might be a stretching station. And so this is great for maybe one of those times where you're saying, okay, take a time out for a minute, cool down, slow down just for a second. Next station, you're gonna crank it back up. Okay, hit the hoop. Now, with this one, and this is just a variation, you can do any game that you play that you keep score on, or that you have some sort of objective of what the student is supposed to do. Are they supposed to throw it through the hoop? Are they supposed to hit the target? Any game that you have where that's one of the keys, you can go ahead and add in that they run and grab a letter or number or sight word as their reinforcement of they successfully hit the hoop or made the shot or whatever you're trying to reinforce. So with this, when my older students, we do a volleyball unit, I'll pull this out for the younger kids. So they're working on correct overhand throw techniques. So I have the hula hoops up on the net, I hang them up there, and when they throw the ball, and I'll have a line that they have to throw from behind. If it hits inside the hula hoop, they run and get a letter and try to spell out their sight words. So I had, the last time I played this, we had 2 sides. The one side was spelling their words against our foldable wall. The other side was spelling their words out on the steps of our stage. If you look in the pictures way at the beginning, you can see that we have a stage on one side, and I would put up 20 sight words. And so it's 50 kids are trying to spell on one side of the gym, 50 kids are trying to spell on the other, and they're working together. And they'd hit the ball inside the hula hoop, they'd run and get a letter. And so at the end of 5 minutes or whatever, we'd stop, we'd check who had more sight words. I'd put up a new list, and then we'd reset and we'd go again. And so once again, it's something fairly common. You're trying to have them throw a ball to a target, but instead of just throw, you also got throw, and then the winning signal was the kid got to run over and get a letter and go put it down. Partner jump ropes. You can draw 2 cards, go grab 2 poly spots, grab 1 domino, and you add them together, and that's how many jumps that partner 1 needs to do, and partner 2 runs to get their card. And then they switch. And with the older kids, this is a lot like I was talking earlier with the basketballs. Older kids multiply, If it's a 2-digit number, the older kids might try to get that many jumps in a row. That you put the smaller number first. So if you have a 5 and a 2, you make it a 25. Try to get 25 jumps in a row, and that you might have a challenge with that. Using dice, number spots, dominoes, any of these work. Draw a letter card and jump while you say the alphabet. When you reach, once again, if you got, I'll choose a letter closer in the alphabet for D. A, B, C, D. And as soon as you get there, you switch. Once again, this is for a lot of times large group classes where you're trying to trade off equipment. It just makes it a little easier if they have something that they're supposed to do in between. So run and grab something, come back, trade it off, and I get to do, integrate academics into that. Jump rope spelling. This is another one that I use during my rest stations, or as a rest station during jump ropes. And they use the jump ropes to spell out sight words or letters or numbers. And one of the great things about this is if you have any jump ropes that have broken, you can put them in a special little tub and you can pull them out just for this, and works great. Another thing is if you have any jump ropes that have broken, and this is not an academic thing at all, but you can make the jump rope where if you've got both handles, go down 2 feet. If it's broken in the middle, go down 2 feet on each side, tie on a little piece of noodle, a little noodle section on there, and you have the jump ropes that they can never mess up on. So you have 2 jump rope handles swinging 2 feet of jump rope on each side of them, and they can never mess up. So if you have any students that you need to do some accommodations for, that usually works out really well. Last one, and this is one I'm looking forward to. Oh, hold on. That's not the last one, but it's one that I'm looking forward to with our climbing wall. Set up various stations which students will want to go to. Tetherball, hippity hop, sport square. If you do field day and you've got some just fun field day stations, those work for this. So half the gym is kind of the fun stuff. Half the gym are more workout stations. So set a price for each station thinking of supply and demand. We have a rock wall brand new this year. So when I get to this game with them, I'm going to have the rock wall as being one of the higher price stations. They earn money by doing an exercise. So if they, 5 push-ups, you get 50 cents. 10 jumping jacks, 50 cents. And they can earn, if they've made $5, they can go climb across the rock wall. If they've earned, let's say, an inexpensive station, shoot 5 baskets. That might be $2 because you can have several kids doing it. And it might be something you do more, but you've got the kids that will still earn that $2 to go shoot baskets. So for this, you definitely, having the money is great. If you've got any students sitting out due to medical reasons, it seems like I've always got somebody who's broken an arm or something playing sports. They can be your banker. JD Hughes, he has a game that I've used a couple of times. It's, I want to say it's Wall Street, but with that one, they would run the lap, and every time they ran a lap, they got $1. Well, one of the things that I use, and then they could go try to invest it in Wall Street in the middle, and basically they'd play rock, paper, scissors, and each kid would put $5 down, they play rock, paper, scissors, and the winner would take the money. Well, I was playing that the one day, and I decided that, hey, running a lap, good. We were getting ready for Fitness Gram. So I added a couple other stations where it was do 10 push-ups, 10 good push-ups, and you got $5. Or do 10 good curl-ups, and you got $5. And suddenly I had kids who, on a normal basis, never wanted to do the push-ups correctly, never wanted to do the curl-ups correctly, but because if you didn't do them correctly, you didn't earn the money. Suddenly we had students that were doing exceptionally well and trying their hardest because we added this little part into that game. Now, this year, we've got a rock wall that is a magnetic painting or magnetic paint on it. So it's an everlast climbing wall. So if you look on the left side, you can see that there are magnetic letters and words and numbers that we can use on it. The middle picture, those are called discovery plates, which are also magnetic. So you can put like they've done, where they've put the word problems, the kid has to crawl up and write on the discovery plate their dry erase and answer the problems. The picture on the right, well, that's after we had just put it up. We haven't had the kids on it yet, but that was my daughter, and since she sat there while I helped put it up, she got to try it out early on. All of these games that I've talked to you about, a lot of them can be integrated by the classroom teachers. And that's one of the things that I want to reinforce is that, it's not always us doing it. And sometimes if we integrate some of the academic stuff, the teachers start hearing about it from their kids, and you can tell the kids, because I don't normally pull these games out more than once, maybe twice a year. I tell the kids, you know what? I will give this to your teacher so that they can do it sometime. And so I've had, kindergarten classes that have taken some of our, taken the letters and done some of our games. And what our fifth grade teachers had a star boot camp that they wanted some of these games to work with. So it's not, like I said, once again, it's not just us. Sometimes it's the classroom teachers that's going to want these games, and you can help them out and give them the information, give them the materials, and they'll be more than happy to do this as kind of a brain boost. I know most of us hate the term brain break, but brain boost occasionally, especially on those days where it's a star day, where we don't have specials, where it's an indoor recess day. This is a great option that they can still include a little academics into it, but they also get the kids to get some energy out. I appreciate everybody who's logged on tonight to watch me. I, absolutely love the chance to share all this with you. Jorge, thank you for moderating here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was a lot of really good information, a lot of really good activities that we could use, and like you said, share with our classroom teachers. And one of the great things about the activities that you're doing, like you said, if our classroom teachers can take some of that academic content and use that as well, it's been shown, studies have been shown that kids learn better through movement. So when they can infuse that movement into their academic content, I think that goes a long way.
All right. Hold on.
All right.
Am I still here?
Yeah, you're still there. All right. So is there anything else you'd like to kind of leave us with?
A lot of new games I just kind of come up with as we go on, and I usually post them on Twitter. So if you want to follow me on Twitter @Coach Peebles, you'll get more of these as I come up with them. If you have great ideas, by all means, share them. We, as PE teachers, have the best job in the world. And so let's keep that up, and let's make the classroom teachers know that we can't be replaced. We have the most important job, because it doesn't matter what else, if people don't have their help, then there's not a whole lot that they can do. I want to support our fellow PE teacher who's I want to support anybody else who's going grandmother who have both had breast cancer and are survivors of it. And so for anybody else that's on that route, prayers are with you. Thank you, Jorge. Were there any other questions that popped up?
No, I was looking at the back channel the whole time, and not a lot of questions, but a lot of people kind of sharing ideas and that kind of stuff. So yeah, we had a really active back channel there with people kind of suggesting where they got their letters and blocks and things like that from as well. So so no other questions, and yeah, just wanted to remind everybody that if you take the survey on physedagogy.com/physed-summit, you will have access to the professional development certificate as well. So make sure you check that out. Click on the link and get that professional development certificate, and take that survey and let us know how we did, so that we can improve anything for next time as well. So thank you, Rex. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and I hope everybody has a great night.
Thank you very much. Have a great year.